Hello everyone, it's Cam from Arsenal Theory with a reaction to the Arsenal-Chelsea game yesterday. And great news, we've had our first victory since I started the channel. I can't believe it. Since I started it, we've either lost or drawn all our games. So it was nice to finally get that monkey off the back and get a win. And it was a great game of football. Well, the first half was a great game. To get straight into it, both teams started strong. I thought they both looked up for it. Both sets of players looking very, very committed in the game, and it was quite kind of end to end. I thought at the beginning, but you could just see that Arsenal had just a bit more about them than necessarily Chelsea did. It just literally in those first few minutes. So Arteta made some changes. He brought in Kiwior. We finally got to see him, although he wasn't really up against much, to be fair. But to me, he looked fairly kind of solid and sort of straightforward. But again, you're only as good as who you're playing against, and he was literally playing against a lamppost in Aubameyang. I think Aubameyang had 9 touches the whole half, and 4 of those were from the kickoff. So not great for him. So yeah, Kirill came in and Jorginho came in as well, and I thought he looked very tidy, very, very good. And so obviously Holding was dropped, and Arteta actually came out and said that we were conceding too many goals, so something had to change, and change that he did, and we did look like our old selves. You can normally tell what kind of performance you're going to get from Arsenal from almost the first kind of 30 seconds. I don't know if you ever have it with like your partner or your wife or whatever, or maybe a work colleague or something. When you see them in the morning, you can kind of tell, oh, they're in a really good mood. It's going to be a great day. Or there might be a bit of a mizzo, and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be a long old day at the office here. And that's kind of what Arsenal are like, really. But yesterday, we were zippy from the start, committed, going into challenges, moving the ball quickly, not just kind of prancing around, hands on hips, trying to make the perfect pass. We were very, very focused and very proactive in trying to make things happen. So that was really good to see, and it looked like we'd got our confidence back. Now, why that changed, hard to know. Is it purely because they knew that Holding wasn't in the team, and does Holding really have that much of a hold over the attitude and the capabilities of the rest of the team? Maybe. Is it the pressure that now no one expects Arsenal to win the league, and I think we've got an 11% chance of winning it according to some Opta stats. So the pressure's off, so they can just kind of just play their natural way. Maybe that's it. But either way, we kind of looked like the Arsenal of old, really. So, and also I've got Trossard came in as well. So Martinelli had been dropped, Partey had been dropped, and Holding had been dropped as well. And those were the changes that I wanted. I think I said in the video beforehand, but the kind of previewing the game was I definitely wanted Kyrgios to come in, and I wanted Trossard to start. And he did both of those, and he chucked in Jorginho for good measure against his former club as well. So that was nice to see. Chelsea, complete shambles, really complete shambles. There's no real connectivity there between the players. Quite a lot of times their moves would just break down by themselves because the player would pass it into a particular lane, but then the attacker had kind of done a different run, and there's no real cohesion or anything there at all. So it's hard to judge just how good of a first half that was from Arsenal, because just the opposition was so poor, really, really poor. But Odegaard banged a couple of goals. He's on something like 14 goals and 8 assists in the Premier League. And I've got to hold my hands up here and say the last few games, I've not been Odegaard's biggest fan. I feel like he has disappeared. And I think that's happened several times across the season. But with stats like that, it's hard to argue against it, that yeah, he shouldn't be playing or he shouldn't be upgraded upon or whatever. Because to get that many goals from a midfield position it's unusual. It doesn't happen a lot, and I think Arsenal are the only team in all of the top leagues in Europe to have 4 players with over 10 goals. So it's Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, and Odegaard. So hopefully they can repeat that next season, because Odegaard's got more. He's got more in the locker. He's had a really great season stats wise, but there's more. There's a lot more there to be had. Yeah, Odegaard and Xhaka created a lovely little partnership yesterday. I think the opening goal where Xhaka cuts it across from the left-hand side, I think it sort of nutmegs a Chelsea defender. I can't believe the ball actually got through the gaps. And a lovely kind of cushioned finish with Odegaard with his left foot. You know, he didn't sky high it, which would have been which would a lot of players would have done. They would have leant back when the ball was coming in, tried to hit it with too much pace, and it would have just gone to Rose Ed. Instead, he stayed kind of calm and measured, and the ball came in quite hard, quite fast. So he just used the pace of the ball against itself, and a lovely finish. Kepa actually did well. At first, I thought, oh, what's Kepa? Kepa's made a bit of a balls ache of that. But actually, he had no chance. He actually did well to get his fingertips with it on it, off on the underside of the bar. Great goal. But Chelsea didn't learn, you know, and Arsenal effectively redid that move again later on. Xhaka from more or less the same place, ball straight through. Odegaard was being picked up by Sterling for some reason. I don't know why Raheem Sterling is in the Chelsea defence area picking up players, but he was, until he wasn't, because Odegaard just kind of gave him a little shimmy and a little shake and lost him. Sterling had no idea where he'd gone and just side-footed it into the far left post, 2-0. So a lovely couple of work goals. Chelsea really, really poor defensively. And the third goal, Jesus, the ball's just kind of dinking around all over the area, really. Chelsea just don't deal with it. You'd think one of them would just get a foot on it, just rose it, head it out, something. And none of them do. And Jesus is there just to pick up the pieces and smash it home. I thought he was busy, Jesus. I wasn't quite as high on his performance as a lot of people online seem to be. There are a lot of tweets going around with people saying, oh, you know, if you don't see why Jesus is so important, then you don't know football based on that first half. And I thought he had a good half, but I didn't think it was incredible or transformative or anything like that. And I was getting frustrated with him at times because he kept dropping so deep. And earlier on in the game, he had a couple of funny touches that didn't quite work out, a couple of moves which didn't work out. And it just felt like when that happened, he was dropping kind of further deep instead of just staying up the top of the pitch. Now, I don't know what he's discussed with Arteta in terms of doing that kind of stuff. So I'm assuming the manager doesn't really have an issue with it. But I suppose as fans, if you've got a number 9, you want to see him in the number 9 position. So, you know, yeah, like I said, for me, the jury's out on him. I mean, he scored 10 league goals, which I don't think is enough. Now, I appreciate he was injured for 4 months, but if he's going to be an injury-prone player, then what are we going to do? But anyway, that's a whole different video. That one. Back to the game. So 3-0 cruising, everything going kind of quite nice and smooth, and then the old Arsenal kind of, I feel, crept back in. You know, really, this should have been a 4 or 5, even a 6 drubbing. But we just don't kill teams. I don't know what it is. We just don't seem to want. We don't seem to want to destroy a team. Like really, really hand it to them. And the second half, we kind of stepped off the pace a bit. I felt there was a lot of olaying going on at one point. Couple of extra flicks I wasn't really too keen on from the players, and then we fall asleep at the back. I say we, Zinchenko falls asleep at the back, I'm not going to try and pronounce the Chelsea's player's name that scored the goal. But the Chelsea player scores a goal. It's 3-1, and now suddenly all the nerves are out, because if they get a second, you're in a hell of a situation then. I only really feel safe with Arsenal if we're 4-0 up. Very rare we go 4-0 up, and so Zinchenko has been making quite a few errors recently, and I don't know what Mikel's going to do, because he brings a lot to the team, obviously through his play, but ultimately he is a defender, and if he can't really defend, then what are we doing? So, and you can't win leagues giving away goals like that. I don't think you can, and that'll probably be proven this season as well, because we're not going to win the league. So I do feel that Zinchenko can be upgraded on. One thing I don't like though, and is Ramsdale played well. I thought he did one dodgy pass which he got away with, but he made a good save against Chilwell in the first half. But when Zinchenko makes the error, Gabriel's flailing all over the place, and they score. Ramsdale just goes crazy on the defence, starts pointing, shouting, going crazy. And I just think, if I wasn't a defender against him, I'd just tell him to fuck off. I really think I would, because when he makes a mistake, the defenders always go up to him, don't worry about it, we'll fix it, we'll make it better, yada, yada, yada. They don't go nuts at him like he does at the defenders. So maybe Ramsdale needs a touch of his own medicine, if I'm honest. So the next time he makes a cock up, I'd quite like to see one of our centre backs go, yeah, you fucked it. Well done. Good job. And have a go at him and see how he likes it. And maybe we'll actually maybe he'll look at himself and think about what he's actually doing, because it's a part of his game I don't particularly like. But that's just me. That's just me personally. If I was a footballer, I would probably tell him to go shove it. But I'm not a footballer, so maybe it's a good job I'm not. We managed to see out the rest of the half, but it did feel very edgy. It did feel nervy, and I think what didn't help was Gabriel kept going down injured every kind of 5 minutes, and we just didn't take him off. And the reason we didn't take him off is because I know he didn't want to bring Holding on. He didn't want to bring Holding on, so he was just risking Gabriel as much as he possibly could, until the point where really he had to come off, and he did come off, and now he's a doubt for Newcastle. So if he's not fit for Newcastle, I don't think a Kiwi or Holding duo at the back is really going to be much of a defence against the likes of Isaac and Guimaraes and Willock and whoever else. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But the main thing was get 3 points. It's nice to be back at the top of the league, although it won't be for much longer. But it was nice to get a performance and see the players back enjoying the game again, because it's looked like really hard work for them the last few games, and maybe just remind them of what they are capable of, and they're not as bad as they might not have been as good as maybe they thought they were, but they're definitely not as bad as they thought they were, or people have said they are. So yeah, Thomas Partey, so he was dropped. He came on in the second half, looked terrible. He looked terrible. Gave away silly free kicks, fouls, just in real bad areas as well, like 45 yards out, 50 yards out. Can just lump it in, maybe get a lucky flick on or something. Don't know what's happened to him. Well, I think as fans, we all know that he's got some very troubling accusations going on, and maybe that's what's affecting his performance. It's really the only kind of explanation I can think of. In fact, I believe Patrick Vieira in the pre-analysis of the game kind of said, the last few games he's looked distracted. So that's not good. And if Patrick Vieira is talking about football, from and the position of a central midfielder, you should listen. So yeah, well, I don't know what he's going to do. I can't see Partey starting against Newcastle. I really don't, because he's just, the things he's good at, he's not doing well at the moment, and it's really going to probably cost us. So it's probably not worth the risk. But like I said, it's really good to get back to 3 points. The jinx is over. The Arsenal theory jinx is done. We have now won a game since I started this channel, so that was nice. And Kyrgios came in, and like I said, he didn't. I thought he looked quite tidy, and he was playing on the wrong side as well. He really wants to. He's left-footed, so he really wants to be playing on the Gabriel side. But he's playing on the right side. He looks a bit skinny for a centre back, so he's probably been on the Fabio Vieira diet. I didn't realise this, but I think he might not speak much English, because Arteta was talking about how he's kind of come on in the last few weeks and he's had to improve and kind of settle in and get better with the language and stuff. So I think those are obviously the reasons why he's not really played him so far. So maybe he's seen an improvement in training, and really I think they bought him for next season, but he's having to be bodied and blooded in now. So I think Saliba's done. I don't think we're going to see him again this year. I really don't. I'd love to, but that's looking a bit dicey at the moment, I think. He was in the crowd though, so he can obviously walk a little bit. So that's some kind of a bonus. And so now we go on to Newcastle, which is going to be a horrific game. They are flying at the moment, playing with passion, energy, purpose. Oh boy, St James's Park is where it all ended last year for us, for our top four. Is that where the league's going to end this year? They're going to do us 2 years in a row. Oh man, it'd be outrageous if that happened. Just outrageous. Points no good. We have to win. And they haven't lost many games. They have not lost many games all season. So hopefully Gabriel will be back, and we've got our confidence back. And hopefully we can get like a real quick couple of really early goals. I know it's not going to probably not going to happen, but that would be ideal. So yeah, well done to Mikel for changing it, and finally seeing that something needed to happen here. So it was interesting. They asked him about the City game and kind of said, what could you have done, or what was the problem? Why did you guys perform like you did? And he actually said maybe we needed a better manager. And he was laughing as he was saying it, but I think he was kind of half joking. And I think he looked back at it and thought, oh, I've messed up there, and it's really, really cost us. So yeah, so fair play to him. He made the changes. If you're a Chelsea fan, I mean, you just want to get this season over and done with, really. I can't believe they're not protesting against the owner yet. I don't understand what they're waiting for. If Lampard is done, he's done. I mean, they've got their next games are Bournemouth and Forest. And then they've got like City, I think United, and then Newcastle on the last day. It's like horrific final 3 fixtures. So what I'm hoping is that Chelsea somehow go and smash Bournemouth and Forest, get some confidence together, and then can go to City and, I don't know, just do some kind of a job on City somehow or another. It's wishful thinking, but they do have good players there. There are good players in that club. There's just no real. There's obviously no confidence because they've lost like 6 games in a row. So they need to be honest about that with themselves, I think, as a team and as players individually, go, yeah, our confidence is low. And I understand that and I accept that. And it should be low. The confidence should be. If you lose 6 games on the trot, you shouldn't be 100% confident. You should feel like shit. You should be questioning things. But then work it back from there and go, okay, well, let's park that. How do we get that back? Well, you get it back by individual actions, I think. Knowing what you're supposed to do. Do you know your role? What is my job in this team? What are the things I need to look out for in this game? What player am I having to mark, or what attributes are the team we're playing against going to bring to the game? And yeah, if you don't have those answers, then yeah, you're not going to be confident, and yes, you're going to lose games. So Lampard, I mean, let's talk about a new manager bounce. I mean, this is the opposite. It's like a new manager led balloon. No one's going to. I say no one's going to give him a job again. I wouldn't be surprised if someone gives him a job, but he really needs to rethink things. I think after this season ends, and there's a reason why they've not brought in a new manager. I think because they probably don't want to expose the new manager to these final results. You bring in Pochettino now and he loses the next 4 games. Chelsea fans are going to be wanting him out because fans expect different, instant results. So especially at somewhere like Chelsea, just a terrible set of decisions made by the owners there. So anyway, it's fun to look at. I don't think they'll get relegated. I had a look earlier on. They're on 39 points. They would need. I mean, there's more chance of Arsenal winning the league than Chelsea getting relegated, I think. Put it that way. So they should be safe. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm not going to watch the City game later. I just don't want to do it to myself, because that even after that Chelsea result yesterday, there's a little part of me that starts going, oh, maybe it's back on. Maybe we can do something. Anfield, May '89. Stranger things have happened. It's a funny old game. All the bullshit cliches come out about stuff, and then you have to go, no, don't do it to yourself. Don't be an idiot. It's done. Forget about it. Move on. So yeah. So again, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please press the like button. Please subscribe. It's Cam from Arsenal Theory, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow with another one. Thanks very much. Bye.